Okay, today I'm going to show you how to study for business studies. So I'm just going to go through one unit in the grade 10 Platinum textbook. So this is unit 1, the headings, and then this is the heading for the first thing on the page. So the first thing I find that's super helpful is just to read through it. So here it says the microenvironment is also referred to as the internal environment. This is the immediate environment in which a business functions. It has the most direct positive and negative influences on the business. So what you really want to do here is look for keywords that kind of describe it. So your first keyword is that the microenvironment is also referred to as the internal environment. So what you'll do is you'll write over here that it is the internal environment. Okay. So once you've got that, you're going to look for your next keyword. So here it says this is the immediate environment in which a business functions. So you can write immediate environment, okay? And then we obviously know that it has the most direct positive and negative influences on the business. So here you'll say direct positive or negative influence. Okay, so basically this is the internal section of the business. So basically it would be considered like things happening inside your company. Okay, so you could think of it as everything happening inside the walls of the building. Okay, so then here you have your vision, mission statement, goals, and objectives. So I'm just going to write that heading quickly. Okay, so it's always good to write the headings just so that you know where everything is in your study notes. Preferably if you use like a blue pen and then highlight, I think that will make things a lot easier for you if you use different color pens. I'm just doing this black marker for it's just going to help me make things easier for myself, but you should use color. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here we've got vision, mission statement, goals, and objectives. So here you're going to follow the sort of same thing. You're going to read through it. So the success of a business depends on the strategy and plans. The vision, mission statement, goals, and objectives are part of the strategy and plan to achieve success. So because this is our heading, I'm just going to write here. They're part of the strategy. Why is my spelling so bad today? Strategy and plan to achieve success. Okay, so there I know the vision, mission statement, goals, and objectives are the strategies and plans to achieve success in a business. I don't have to write all of that. I just know by reading it that that's what's required, or that's what they do for the business. Okay, the vision of the business is the dream you want to achieve. For instance, to be the biggest and most preferred beauty salon in Soweto. Okay, so you're just going to do this. You're going to go like this. Vision, okay, because now they told us what the vision is. And they've said, yeah, the vision of a business is the dream that you want to achieve. So you're going to say, dream that you want to achieve. Okay. You don't have to write that you might want to be the best business in Soweto, or that the vision of a business is the dream that you want to achieve. You just say vision, dream that you want to achieve. You know this is business studies. You know that it's going to apply to business. You don't need to write that in your study notes. Okay, so here they say the mission statement gives clear direction on how you intend to achieve your vision. For instance, to use excellent quality products and resources, and always to provide excellent customer service. So here you're going to do the same sort of thing. You're going to say mission statement. Okay. And you're going to say gives clear direction on how to achieve your vision. Okay. So gives clear direction on how to achieve your vision. Okay, this one is still pretty long, but it's shorter than writing everything. Okay, so one thing you never want to do with studying is write everything you've read. You're never ever going to remember all of that, and it's like way too much for your brain. If you look at study notes that are compact, you're more likely going to want to look at them as opposed to looking at writing like that. Okay, because this is short, it's bite-sized, you can read through it. If you don't understand your keywords, you simply go back to the textbook. Okay, but you need to make that link and make it easier for yourself. Okay, your goals are your long-term plans of what you want to achieve. For instance, to have a client base of 500 clients in 5 years' time. Okay, so you'll say your goals. Okay, they are your long-term plans for what you want to achieve. Okay, simple, easy peasy, just like that. Okay, and then we have the last one, which will be the objectives. So here it says objectives are short-term aims that you want to meet in order to achieve your long-term goals. For instance, to employ another beautician by the end of the month. Okay, so objectives are your short-term goals or short-term plans, aims. Short-term aims to achieve your long-term goals. Okay, so now another thing you want to do is make sure you understand what's basically happening here. So vision, mission statement, goals and objectives, strategy and plan help achieve success in a business. Okay, so the vision is the dream that you want to achieve. Your mission statement gives you a clear direction on how to achieve your vision. So how to achieve your dream. Okay, goals are the long-term plans for what you want to achieve. Objectives are the short-term aims to achieve your long-term goals. So these two kind of go hand in hand, and these two kind of go hand in hand, and that's something you want to remember when you're studying. Okay, then you have the organizational culture. So I just want to write that heading quickly. Okay, so organizational culture. The organizational culture is the way a company goes about doing business. It is the way that management interacts with staff and how staff interact with each other. The morals and ethics of the business play a large role in determining the culture. Some companies have a very informal style and others have a very structured, formal way of doing things. Some companies are very strict on what time their employees arrive and leave for work, while others are more concerned about actual performance. For instance, a company like Google has a very informal style and allows the employees time during the office to do their own work and research. Okay, so this last paragraph, you don't actually have to know anything from it. Okay, this is just like giving you an example on the differences between companies. What you really want to know is the first paragraph here, which tells you the organizational culture is the way a company goes about doing business. So you're going to write this. Company goes about doing business. Okay, there you go. Company goes about doing business. So that's, this is the way the company goes about doing the business. Okay, then the next part, it is the way that management interacts with its staff and how staff interact with each other. So you're going to write how management and staff interact. Okay, now you might be thinking, yeah, but this paragraph said that this is how management interacts with its staff and how staff interact with each other. So how management and staff interact, you can know how management interacts with staff and how staff interact with each other. That's just something you're going to have to remember. Okay, and like I say, we're just trying to make your notes small, compact, so that you get the gist of what you're studying, and so that you can remember like basically what they're trying to tell you, not trying to remember word for word everything. Okay, it's about understanding the work, not parrot studying the work. Okay, so then they say here the morals and ethics of the business play a large role in determining the culture. So you'll write your morals and ethics, okay, develop culture, okay? And then in brackets, you're going to put the role, okay? So this is why. Because the sentence here says the moral and ethics of the business play a large role in determining the culture, but you don't want to write that whole sentence. So you're just going to say moral and ethics develop culture. Then you're going to say moral and ethics have a role in developing the culture, okay? So there we go. And then here, you'll just say some companies have very informal style and others have very structured formal way. So you'll say informal and formal style. Okay, that's it. That's easy peasy. And that's like the start to understanding the work. Okay, so now if we move on, we're on to organizational resources. So this is the organizational resources are the resources that are available to a business. They can include the following. So here you're going to say resources available to a business. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put like a colon here so that you know these resources. So the first one is human resources, which is our people. Okay, so you're going to say human resources. Okay, your people. Okay, physical resources. Which is your raw material, infrastructure, and machinery. Okay. Then financial resources. Okay, so that's your capital. And then you'll obviously have, they say, other resources such as time. Okay, so if you want to remember this, okay, sometimes it's really nice to make sort of like a word for yourself. Okay, so you might go, okay, I'm not sure I'm going to remember human resources, physical resources, financial resources, and time. Okay, so you kind of make a word. So PT, so let's start there. So PT, because some kids went through PT as like a school subject. So you might go, okay, PT. Okay, HP, like I think there's a technology brand called HP. So then you remember that. Oh, sorry, why am I saying PT? We need HF. Okay, so here you'll have PT and then you'll just remember HF. Okay, physical resources, time, human resources, financial resources, and you remember it easier that way. Okay, then let's move on to the next heading, which is management and resource management and leadership. Okay, so and leadership. Okay. The style and type of management and leadership have a large impact on the business. The vision, mission, and goals are all set and driven by management. The organizational culture is created by management. The way in which a manager manages and leads the staff will have great influence on how productive the staff are. If the manager is motivating and supportive, the employees will be more willing to do their work. Well, rather than the manager if the manager just instructs and demands, management is also responsible for the allocation of resources and ensuring that these resources are used effectively. Okay, so how are we going to separate this? So the first thing is we're going to take the keywords. Style and type of management and leadership have a large impact on the business. So all you say is management impacts the business. Okay. Then if you move on, vision, mission, goals are all set and driven by management. So vision, mission, you can even say etc. if you know it's vision, mission, goals. You don't have to write the whole thing. Vision, mission, etc. driven by management. Okay. Okay, Then the next sentence says the way in which a manager manages and leads the staff will have a great influence on how productive staff are. So all you have to say is management influences production of staff. Okay, so you took a sentence that was like 2 lines long and you turned it into a 5-word sentence. Okay, if the manager is motivating and supportive, the employees will be more willing to do their work well, rather than if the manager just instructs and demands. So this is kind of like, you don't really need to know it. It's kind of just general knowledge. Like, for instance, if your friends are motivating and supportive, you will be like more likely to tell them stuff and you will want to do well because you have that support. Whereas like if your friends just instruct things of you and demand things of you, you're not kind of want to be friends with them kind of thing. So that's kind of just like just like personalities and like understanding people. So you don't really need to know that. Management is also responsible for allocation of resources and ensuring that the resources are used effectively. So that one you kind of need to know. So you'll just say management allocates resources, and then you can go ... ensure used effectively. Okay, so because you got the word resource in the sentence, you don't need to say management allocates the resources and then they ensure that the resources are used effectively. You just say management allocates the resources, so they are responsible for allocation of the resources and they ensure that the resources are used effectively. Done. That's it. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next little section, business organizational structure. Okay, so let's read through it. The organizational structure of the business is the hierarchy that determines the positions of management, the departments, and the employees. The structure will determine who reports to whom and which departments fall under which managers. The structure also indicates the way decisions are taken and carried out. The structure can be illustrated by organogram. So that's this over here. We will see examples of these later. Okay, so all you need to know here is the organizational structure of the business is the hierarchy. So you'll go like this. Organizational structure. Hierarchy. Okay, so basically you don't need to know the rest of this stuff. This will determine the positions of management, the departments and the employees. The structure will determine who reports to whom, because basically this pyramid, or like you kind of just know, like you have the CEO, that's obviously the most important, and then you have like your managers, for instance, and then you have like, so there's your 2 managers, then you have like, I don't know, this manager works on staff A and B, and this one works on staff C and D. It's kind of a thing of like, okay, if this is the manager for finance, the finance people will report to that manager, okay, and the manager will manage those people, okay. Then you'll have, okay, this is administration, they will report to their manager and their manager will report to them, and then the CEO like oversees everything, that type of thing. So it's just like a way things are set out, okay. So that's it. It's just a hierarchy. That's basically all you need to know, okay. Then you have the 8 business functions. Okay, 8 business functions. There are 8 main functions in a business. So here, if you really want to, you can say main functions, okay? So that you know there's 8. Then you can put in brackets, there's 8 main functions. These functions are all different, but they work together to achieve the same business goal. Okay, large businesses will have separate department carrying out each of these functions, while small businesses may only have one person doing each function. Okay, so the 8 functions are, you don't really need to know that. Okay, every business is different, so obviously things will be different. You don't need to say like, oh, it will be different. You kind of just know that. These 8 functions are general management, purchasing, production, marketing, public relations, human resources, administration, finance. Here, is where we're going to make another acronym to remember all of this, okay? So let's start. HM. I'm going to put them together because there's a store called H&M. So if you put HM, it kind of is like, oh, yes, okay, the one was H&M. Then there's purchasing, production, public relations. That you can just go PPP. Then you're like, okay, H&M, triple P, and then you look at the last two. So what's the last two? There's a G for general management, and there's administration, and there's finance. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, finance. Okay. So here you can kind of make up anything you want. So you might say, I think this is one I actually used, was fag, because fag is kind of like a cigarette. That's what they used to call it. So I'm not trying to like teach you to use like crude words, but that's just how I remembered it. I found like if I could make a word out of it, that's how I remembered it. And then it was like, okay, yeah. So there's human resources. Okay. There's marketing. Okay. Then there's the PPP. So it's purchasing, production, public relations, okay, then you have finance, administration, okay, and then general management. And what's nice about the acronyms is that, like, if you just had to memorize all of these, it gets a bit confusing for you to remember everything. Because you might like, obviously, you're not just going to study one chapter for a test. You should be studying for lots. So you kind of don't want to sit there and go like, oh, okay, what are the things? I know the one is general management. No, if you just make an acronym, you're like, okay, I know the letters are HM, PPP, FAG. Okay, so what am I trying to think of here? Okay, yeah, the one is human resources. Even if you forget, like, say, purchasing or whatever, you'll remember more by having the acronym than just trying to remember them off by heart. So that's how I studied for business studies. That worked for me. Obviously, everyone's a little bit different, but if this does work for you, that's great. And that's why I'm sharing it. So thank you.